Okay, well, I would like to welcome Dr. Tonantzin Tarin. Dr. Tonantzin Tarin is a plant ecophysiologist and ecohydrologist. Tonantzin leads the Ecophysiology of Terrestrial Ecosystems group at the Institute of Ecology at the National Autonomous University of Mexico in Mexico City. A living boomerang, Tonantzin's academic journey has taken her from the Sonoran Desert to the deserts of Australia, back to the Americas in the US, and now currently back in Mexico. A fitting journey considering she is an avid runner and always going somewhere. Tonantzin, I'm so happy you agreed to stay in one place to have a fireside chat with me. So yeah, I'm glad to finally have our talk.
Yes, I'm excited too. Thank you for inviting me. This is
absolutely, yeah, it's my pleasure. So if you want to just start with a little bit about who you are, how you got into the research that you do. Yeah, you can go back as far as you like, or you can start as recent as you like. It's your choice.
Yeah, well, hi everyone, all the listenings. And well, I'm Tonantzin Tarin, and I'm from Mexico, from the northwest of Mexico, which is a semi-arid region, like very similar, or pretty much the same region as in Arizona. So we share the same ecosystems. And that's where I was born, near the ocean, so by the sea, actually. And we have a lot of concerns about water, and so I somehow managed to get into one of the top universities in my state, and I study engineer in environmental science. And since then, I just got very passionate about science and understanding water in terrestrial ecosystems, because that's how the better we know about water in these ecosystems, we will be able to manage those resources in the region. And yeah, and I just got very, very passionate about all the technology involved to study ecosystems and fluxes, water and carbon especially. And here I am now, finally, as a faculty in the National University in Mexico.
Yeah, that's awesome. Congratulations also about your faculty position. That's really cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So if you could, so I know you studied your undergrad in your home state, right? In the Sonoran Desert. And so what led you from there to Australia? Did you go straight from there to Australia?
So, no, well, I stay at this institute. It's called the Sonora Institute. It's on. I stayed there for my master's degree too.
Oh, okay.
Was again, I did a lot of research studying evapotranspiration partitioning, which is knowing how much of the water comes from evaporation and how much of the water comes from transpiration. So it's one hydrological process, but it's composed with two components. One, the water that is coming from the soil and water surfaces, and the water that is coming from plants through transpiration. And the hardest part to understand at that time, and it's still very hard to understand it, all the mechanisms involved in plant transpiration. And that's how I got very excited to learn more about plant physiology. And I started searching for places to go for my PhD. And I ended up doing my PhD with an amazing professor, Dr. Derek Imus, who is a great ecophysiologist. And he had a lot of tools and equipment to do research in a semi-arid region, which I wanted to specialize myself in that. And I applied and I got accepted. So I moved to Australia. Awesome. And I live in Sydney, but all my research was done in Central Australia, which is we were flying 3 hours back and forth every field campaign. We were jumping in on a plane with a lot of equipment, like all the things we needed to get our research done in Central Australia.
Wow, that's really cool. So even though you were living in Sydney, what university was that?
University of Technology, Sydney.
Okay, so you were living there, which is not semi-arid, but you were doing all your research. And so you're in like the central part of Australia, which is desert, essentially, right? And how similar was that to the Sonoran Desert that you're familiar with?
Well, surprisingly, it was very, very different. When I read the proposal of this project, I was getting to with my supervisor. He got this grant to do this research in Central Australia, and he sent me some things to read before I landed in Australia. And when I was reading and I was checking, especially the weather, I was like, oh, this is like Sonora. Like it really like Sonora. Like, you know, high temperatures, like little rain, like it has like about 300 millimeters of rain, like the historical mean. And it's very, very similar to what we had in Sonora. Temperatures about, well, I'm not sure if I should say it in Celsius, but like 40 degrees, which is about 100 Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
So I was used to that. And I was like, oh. But when I arrived there, and the first time I went to see Central Australia, it was August, which it was like in the middle of winter. And I was like, oh, plants still have leaf. That was the first thing that shocked me, because like plants have leaf, and this don't really happen with many species in Sonora. Like this species lose the leaf every single season, and that was one of the things that surprised me. Then I observed the soil, like the sandy red soil, which amazed me. Like it's beautiful and it's flat, and that changed a lot of the view of in the hydrological perspective, because you don't have like, you know, runoff or not much of the runoff, and you lose the concept of a basin. And so it's all about groundwater, and there were a lot of differences. And as I got to study more and more about Central Australia, I knew like those were the oldest soils in the world, and they're very poor in nutrients and organisms. And yeah, so plants, and also rainfall in Australia has largest variability than in Mexico, or the northwest of Mexico and southwest of the United States. So we have this rain coming in this side of the world, like in Mexico and the United States, every summer. Whether in Australia, they may have rain, but they may not have. So plants can't really afford losing the leaves.
Wow.
Every season, as plants do here in Sonora.
Yeah. I mean, to my knowledge, I don't. Is there like just a handful of species, or not very many species, that are even deciduous in Australia at all?
Yeah, well, they have like, well, this is one of the interesting things. Like one of the species I studied was Acacia actinura and Acacia neura, but there are a lot of Acacia species, like different species, or there are a lot of eucalyptus and some grasses. But I think we have more diversity in the Sonoran Desert. But that's what my perspective of just seeing around, like they're more. And of course we have the cactus and all the cactaceae, and that makes the desert also very beautiful. Different, both are beautiful, different ways.
Yeah. It's amazing how, you know, I think a lot of people that haven't spent time in a desert or semi-arid, you know, whether it's true desert or not, they don't realize the magnificence. You know, it's, to me, it's like looking at the ocean. You know, a sea is just, you can't describe it. You know, it is beautiful, it is powerful, it's very moving. And but even like there's differences. Not all beaches are the same. Not all deserts are the same. And so, yeah, I have not been to the central part of Australia, but yeah, I could definitely imagine, there's a completely different feel, even though it is a similar climate or, similar scenery.
Yeah, it was a great time. It was difficult and very challenging for many reasons. I guess we were more connected in Mexico while I was doing field work in Sonora. Of course, my house was kind of close for the field sites. Whether in Australia, we were jumping on a plane, we were renting cars, and we were driving even farther from the biggest city in the middle of nowhere. So, and we were pretty much exactly in the mathematical center of Australia. Like if you divide
Wow.
country, we were pretty much in the middle.
Wow.
It was great.
Yeah, absolutely. That's pretty cool though. I mean, it sounds like you definitely had the extreme field experience. Yeah, you didn't have all the creature comforts and all of that, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I kind of missed that part. It was really hard. And every time I think like how many hours we got to spend in the desert, like under these high conditions. And well, every time I've been submitting papers, like the reviewers say, oh, it must be very difficult to collect. I was like, yeah, all this it was very difficult to collect. But I missed that part. Like it's been a while since I haven't been in the field, and I miss going to the field. It makes your brain work in different ways, like all the challenges you have when you're collecting data. And
yeah, I know for sure. Yeah. Well, that's cool. I love hearing about Australia, and I love just seeing that, completely different experience. Well, a very different experience, at least, despite it being a similar, region that or climate that you're used to, that kind of thing.
And one other thing I just want to mention, that it was very special for me to get to see Aboriginal people and hear them talking in their different dialects, because I heard like they have 700 different dialects or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very emotional experience that be there in their own land.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and such a sad well, like any story that has colonization as tied to it, is a very tragic story. And I'm glad to see that there's a lot of work being done to rectify, as much as you can rectify, something like that, like colonization. Can't just be, sorry. But I'm glad to see, like, I know I do want to give a shout out. Have you ever heard of Deadly Science in Australia? I think it's Deadly. Yeah. Well, it's work that's, driven, I think almost completely, if not, absolutely completely to the Aboriginal people of Australia. And it has a lot of focus on, I think it's for the kids, learning science, and it's pretty high impact. And so, yeah, you could look that up. I think it would be something that would really resonate for you. I think it's called Deadly Science, and I'll send you the link on Twitter or something later, or in email. Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. Okay, so thanks for sharing that. So I did want to ask you, so you went from Mexico to Australia, you did your postdoc in Delaware, and then you're back to where you are. You can talk about any of that or none of that if you want about your experience, but I do want to ask you, you in like looking through, your research, you have looked at a wide variety of spatial scale. What is it like? What is different about your experiment at various scales? Can you kind of give me a run through of like, what does your setup look like? What equipment do you use? Sorry, what equipment do you use? And what is it that you're measuring, and what is your kind of data outputs?
I guess you're talking about this manuscript in global change biology. We have like all the different scales. So since I was actually in Mexico doing my undergrads, I pretty much fall in love with isotopes. Like I think they are like a great tool. You were with that, right? With ice? No?
I don't. I actually just talked to somebody that Adam Chank at University of Nevada, Reno. He does a lot of isotope with dendro stuff, but I don't know.
So I use isotopes to partitioning evapotranspiration, as I was saying, in the two components, evaporation and transpiration. And I always wanted to work also with carbon isotopes. And I was very lucky that my supervisor had the spectrometers to read either water isotopes or carbon isotopes. And I knew from the literature that depending of the plant tissue I was analyzing, and I would get different information from the plants. And so I did this research in Australia because I have the resources to analyze isotopic composition in leaf tissue, but also I extracted the sugars, which is the latest, chemical compounds that the plants has been assimilating. And I knew about water use efficiency, which is this proxy of how much water the plants is spending in order to capture CO2. So I have two resolutions already with using isotopes, like knowing like the latest, pretty much like from the past 3 days, analyzing sugars, but also I would know the resolution of the lifespan by analyzing the leaf, the whole leaf tissue. And we also use the gas exchange analyzer at the leaf scale to measure photosynthesis and transpiration and stomata conductance at the leaf scale, and different species, different trees. And that was another scale. So we were trying to compare. And then we have the eddy covariance method, which was measuring at the whole ecosystem scale. And so we have pretty much 4 different resolutions. And the only thing I needed, it was a proxy to compare. Sorry, my puppy.
That's okay. I welcome pets. It's fine.
And so we needed like a proxy to hold on.
That's okay.
I'm gonna grab quick. So don't bother me. I don't have children, but she sometimes bothers me.
No, fur babies. Yeah, they're children.
20 minutes with babies, and I'm like, oh, that's cute, but I have my puppy.
Yeah.
And then within all this time, like as I was collecting all my data and everything, I went to the flux course in Colorado. I don't know if you have heard about that, but
I've seen like the photos and things, but yeah, I don't really understand it. But yeah, go ahead.
So I was in the 2016 generation. Yeah, so it's a 2 weeks course with a lot of great scientists that I was really, really excited to get to know, like in person, like when you meet your famous, singer. Like I feel like that.
Yeah. No, that's how it is with scientists. They're big names, and it's really fun to meet them. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I flew from Australia, but I asked my supervisor, "Can you please sign me to this workshop? I really want to go." And I met Professor Belinda Medlin, and who is from Australia, and she works in Australia, like in Sydney, pretty much. And we were talking about how we could compare all these scales, like which approach to use to compare what I was already collecting. I was collecting a lot of data in Central Australia, and she helped us a lot. And we came out with this proxy, the G1, which is related to water use efficiency. and that's how we ended up getting a comparison of the different scales, and it was great.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. Yeah. So that being able to get to meet the rock star of the eco-phys world kind of enabled you to do the experiments that you needed to get done.
Yeah. Resources really means a lot. Like even every field campaign, like it's great because it's not only having the instruments and the tools, but we have the resources to fly back and forth to the middle of Australia, and that's a little bit expensive.
Yeah, for sure.
My supervisor paid for everything, and like I had his support all the time.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, support is everything. Absolutely, resources, personnel. You know, absolutely. It enabled you to, you know, put out some papers and, you know, make your name, and that's really cool. You know.
Yeah, and yeah, that was a great experience, and then when I kind of got all my thesis, and like in my thesis and all this story, all these analyses, by the end of my PhD, I was doubting like what I wanted to do next. I always knew I wanted to come back and be a professor in Mexico, but in terms of what other area I really want to learn of, like where should I go? And one of the things that interested me a lot, it was like the modeling, like the big models for vegetation and climate change and things like that. So I moved to Delaware, and I worked with a great team from different universities in the US. So we were like a big team trying to understand how a grass will cope with different environmental conditions. And we were taking a lot of data from these plants to do some modeling. And that was giving me a lot of different sets of skills to do modeling and to apply a lot of the knowledge I learned during my PhD.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. Especially, you know, modeling is, you know, more and more, you know, kind of an essential skill, I think, in interdisciplinary and, you know, science for sure. So absolutely, you're able to learn that and take that with you to your current position in Mexico City, right?
Yeah, and also, being in Delaware, it helped me a lot to where I am now. Like it helped me. It helped me a lot.
Yeah. No, that's cool. So tell me about where you're at now, the university, from just kind of the little background that, you know, research that I did. You know, it's the largest university I know in Latin America, and it's really it's a powerful university as well as far as influence, the faculty you have, and student base. So kind of tell me about your position, what you do. I know you lead your group, or there's a group that you lead. Can you kind of tell me about what you do there?
So I just joined this university as an associate professor, which is a tenure track pretty much, like in the United States. And so that was great because they were looking for an ecophysiologist, and I think that was my profile.
Yeah.
And I joined them. I went through the whole interview process and all the application last year as the pandemic was unfolding.
Oh yeah.
It was very stressful, but at the same time, it was very emotional to have that opportunity. And so UNAM, the National University, it's one of it's a top university in Latin America. Usually there is one from Argentina, one from Brazil, and Mexico. And these two universities are always like ranking in the first 3 places. And I work in an institute. So when I moved here in January, we were in lockdown again in Mexico City, as literally as you if the pandemic was starting, like with the highest restrictions. And I moved, but I was really, really excited. Like I have, you know, your own office, you have like a lab, or like that's the lab you're leading now. But I'm also trying, like it goes in academia, like trying to finalize a lot of the stuff I was doing during my postdoc, but at the same time, I'm continue to work like with new things, and now new things from Mexico, like we have here some resources, and there are a lot of scientists, especially in the north, that have these towers, the ecovariance towers that can measure fluxes. And so those people are my friends, and we'll be in touch, and they're supporting me a lot, so we can start answering like new different questions related to the things I know or I've been learning. And yeah, so that's part of the things we are hoping to get done within these first 2 years of my research, like starting to do a lot of comparisons between ecosystems, of the fluxes, and drivers of what are the drivers of these carbon and water fluxes in different ecosystems, of the data that has been collected from the past different, like, I don't know, 3-5 years or even longer. There is a site that has been measuring fluxes for over 10 years already, like almost 10 years.
Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah, that's really cool. What an opportunity. And, you know, something I love, so I love oaks, and, well, I love like all trees, you know, and most plants. But, you know, Mexico having the highest diversity in the world of oaks, I think it's like 170 or so oaks, and like there's over 100 endemic oaks in Mexico. And so that's exciting to me to, you know, I don't know, I just think as far as countries go and biodiversity goes, Mexico is just, it's extremely diverse, and you have so many different ecoregions, so many different opportunities to study. And I just imagine as a plant ecophys, ecohydrologist, it's quite an amazing thing to be where you are now.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited too for what you're just saying. Like, we have this mega diverse country, and we just need to go out and try to see like how these ecosystems are doing in terms of fluxes, and how its metabolism is working, and yeah, we what is driving or what's happening in different seasons within these ecosystems. And yeah, so that's something that I'm really looking for. I actually, now that I remember, I just present like a brief like synthesis of a comparison of different ecosystems in Sonora, where we have these fluxes measurements, and we presented in the North American Carbon Program meeting last month. And
oh, okay. Is that, do you know, is that presentation available to the public, or is it recorded, or
it was a poster. It was a poster.
Okay.
It should be available. It should be.
Okay. If you find it, you can always send it to me, and I can link it in this description too, and kind of help promote that. So yeah, or any work that you have. I know, like, I follow you on Instagram and also on the Fizz Mexico. Is that I can't remember the handle.
That word.
Yeah. But, you know, I hope to be able to do that, and hope, you know, anybody watching will check that out. And we'll make sure before I post it, I get all the links that you would like me to put in there. So yeah, we'll help, you know, do that. That's what this is about, is that connectivity and community. So yeah. Okay. Are you ready for some questions, Tonantzin?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you were so nervous about the questions. I was like, I'm not trying to trick you. Okay. I'm not going to trick you. All right. But they are difficult.
Go on.
I'm going to start with what I think is the hardest question. Okay. We'll get this one out of the way. All right. What is Tonatzин's favorite tree?
Ooh, saguaros. It's not.
Yeah,
It's not a tree, but I love cactus in general. I love.
they're
cactus.
tall. They're tall enough. Yeah, yeah. We'll call them a tree for this. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's my favorite plant. Like I love
Yeah.
saguaro.
That's awesome. You know, I've never seen them. I've never seen them. I've not seen them in the wild. No.
Wow.
Ever.
Yeah, it's home for me. Like it's a trait that when I see a cactus, like home, like
Yeah.
the words are beautiful, and I have never studied them. Like I need to get a project to make sure I get to study.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I like that. Most people, you know, they definitely have a connection to their tree of choice, and it often has, you know, context of home, you know, some hominess to it. So that's cool. I like that. What is your favorite fireside food or beverage?
Ooh.
These are tough, aren't they? They're tough
Yeah. Can we go to the next one?
Yeah. We'll come back. We'll come back. Okay. All right. Yeah. Oh, I want to ask you, how did you get? This is not on the list, but I don't think you'll struggle with this. How long have you been such an avid runner? How long have you been running like you do?
I started running in Australia in 2017. Okay. So I was pretty much in the middle of my PhD. I guess PhDs are difficult and you kind of need a way to release all the stress. And that's why I started running in Sydney.
Okay.
And it was beautiful because we have like a lot of different paths and parks, and few of my uni friends, they were running with me. Like I started to get into races. I did like 3 or 4, I don't remember, I think 3 half marathons there, you know, with the opera house, and it was very special. And since then I've been running quite a lot, but not as much as I'm doing right now. Like I think because it's the first time I'm having like a proper training plan with a coach here. I run with a team, and we had a coach, and he tells me how much to run and when to run, and and I have a lot of discipline, so I make sure I get all the training done.
Well, that's good.
Very challenging here in Mexico City because, as we've been talking about my trajectory, I've been always at the sea level.
Yeah, not anymore, huh?
And I think I'm still adapting to the altitude, but I'm doing great and I'm running.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, you've inspired me. I love all your Instagram posts because it's like you're always running. And I need to do that myself. So, sorry, go ahead. What'd you say?
We run 6 times a week, like 6 days.
Yeah, I need to do that. You know what I do? I'm trying to work up to running. So my wife and I, we walk a lot. We walk like several miles every day. But I'm not a good runner. And so we do runking. Runking is run walking, where you walk and then just like as you feel like it, you just run a little bit and then you get tired, so you just walk again. So I'm trying, but I need what you said. I need a regimen. I need like, you know, something to keep me systematic and keep me progressing. Because right now it's just, you know, I go for a run and that's like, you know, exercise for me. So, you know.
Yeah, but we always started that way, like walking, jogging, and then 1 mile, 2 miles, and for me it has become like a life, like everything. Like I really love waking up early and explore. And also right now, like being new in Mexico City has been a way to get to see the city.
That makes sense. Yeah.
In pandemic, you can't really go anywhere like inside pretty much. And so I just explore this area around with great friends, great people that are just here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I'm glad you have that. That's for sure. This is a time where we need all the connection we can get. So, and yeah, getting outdoors, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I've got more questions to ask.
Yeah.
All right. So, if you could go back in time to your teenage self, what advice would you give?
You're going to laugh.
Oh no, I will.
I will tell her, please. No, I will tell myself. I will tell, please learn English right now. The younger you learn English will be better. I was 20 and I couldn't speak English.
Wow.
My English was like zero. I was like, when I realized I wanted to be a scientist, I was like, wow. So you gotta learn English now. But I was in my early 20s. Like, I had to work a lot.
Yeah. No, so
I think that was.
No, I think that's amazing advice. I mean, absolutely. Yeah. And that is one piece of advice that I would give my teenage self. I know very little Spanish, but I wish that I would have stayed with it, and I wish I would have learned more. So when you went to Australia, then where do you think you were speaking speaking English? Where would you rate yourself when you went over there?
Wow. I just got the minimum acceptable level to get into university. Like it was good. I could understand a lot of things, but it was like at the minimum level to be at the university. Like, you know how they ask us for tests and they have different like the GRE. So it was at the minimum, but it was in already. Like, oh, I'm gonna make it. So a lot of the things I learned and I was practicing, it was in the Australian English with the Australian pronunciation. Yeah. When I moved to America, I was trying to switch back again to learn how to say words in the American English.
Yeah, it's very different. I mean, like, you know, it can be confusing if you're talking about, you know, the hood or the trunk of a car, you know, the boot and bonnet, you know, those are always... we don't call them boot and bonnet here, so yeah, it's very confusing.
Yeah, some of my friends in Delaware were laughing for like, where is the esky? And they were like, where is that? I'm like, the cooler, where is the cooler?
Right. Yeah. No, there's differences, you know, for sure. And you know, same, I know, you know, if you're in you know, Mexico or Ecuador, or, you know, very different.
Yeah, happening with the Spanish and every language.
Yeah. No, I think that's fascinating because, and I think it's amazing advice. For one, I am a big proponent of diversity of thought, and you know, if you stick to one way of thinking, you're only ever going to solve problems or figure out one way to do that. And you know, and not only that, just the human connection and being, you know, one people, I think is so important too. While, you know, maintaining our cultures and stuff. But I definitely wish that I would have learned more Spanish, and I do continue to learn, just not as much as I would like to. But and also something to point out, I just think it's absolutely incredible to learn science in a second language. It's hard enough. I squeak by in science as a native English speaker. I cannot imagine, you know, working twice as hard to, you know, do that in a second language. So I just always want to applaud anyone and just say you're amazing for just making it. But you didn't just make it; you got your PhD and now you're faculty. So way to go! I think that's just absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I aspire to be more like you. That's what I'm trying to say.
Thank you.
Okay, so more questions. Oh, do you know who you would pick to play you in a movie?
Oh, that's a hard one too. Like which movie specifically? Any movie?
No, like the movie about you, like your life. Who would you pick to play you in a movie?
Ah, okay.
Sorry, I didn't make that very clear.
Probably Salma Hayek.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is, and she's an amazing actress for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, probably I'll pick her. And also, all my friends in Australia were like, "Oh, you're so cute with your accent. It's just like Salma Hayek," and I just got that in my mind.
That's great. Hey, you know, if you're gonna be compared to somebody, that's a great person to be compared to. So that's awesome. That's cool. All right. So, are you reading currently, aside from research, are you currently reading any books, or do you have a favorite book?
I have, yeah, I'm reading. I have one right next to my bed. It's something about the beauty of joy, and yeah, it's about how to find joy and happiness. And you know, we've been going through a difficult year, and I've been enjoying learning about what really is important in life and what it's not, and how to have more compassion and being like a more human towards other humans, and like, you know, have this empathy and love and care about like little things and be grateful for all you have, and not being kind of putting my mind a lot and my heart in that set of mind. And but one of my favorite books, I think it is The Little Prince. I love that.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Okay. Why The Little Prince?
It's simple, it's funny, and it still tells you a lot of things about life. And I have read it like 3 times already. And every time you read it, and this is the advice from reviewers out there on the internet, like they all suggest you read it like in different stage of your life, and you will see it with different eyes. Like it's a nice book. It's really nice, and it's easy, and it takes you not like you ready less than a week.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. That's cool. Yeah. Did you know they made a cartoon movie out of it? Like a recent one?
Yeah, I watched it last year.
It's pretty good. It was recent. I don't remember how long ago.
I didn't watch it last year. It was cute. It was really nice.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right. I like that. Those are great. Yeah. Man, you gave some really good life advice there. I like that. Okay. So, if you had to be a tree or plant, what would you be? Would it be a saguaro, or would it be something different?
Probably, but I think I could also be an acacia from the Australia, like from the Australian desert. Like, they're very efficient. Like they have little resources, but they, like, I think they stand a lot.
Yeah.
They stand the struggles.
Yeah.
I will be an acacia.
Yeah, I think you are an acacia. You definitely have had the resources, and you made the most of them. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
You give great answers.
Yeah.
You've given great answers. You know, you're so worried about these questions, but you're great. Okay. So, do you have a favorite quote, science or life quote at all? Some people do. Some people don't have like one favorite.
Yeah, well, I have a few that I always write here and there, but I don't think I remember one exact one right now, but I'm trying to think hard now. There's so many beautiful like in science, but no, I don't remember one on top of my head.
No, I don't either. You know, a lot of these questions I ask, I don't even know the answer to myself.
Yeah, sometimes I grab them here and there, but I don't have one right now.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah.
How about scientists? Do you have a favorite scientist or someone who's been influential that you know, whichever?
I think I admire a lot of women out there, like really, really admire them, like how they've been doing great science, like they have like great students, they running great projects, and a lot of women out there that I have met in person or just follow them on Twitter, like they inspire me a lot because they are role models, not just in science, but as they are like a woman, like they have children, they are really passionate about the work and labs and team members, and it just I don't have one specifically, but there are a lot of women, and I follow a lot of them on Twitter, especially because it's great. I really love Twitter, how it helps us to connect, like you and I, like we haven't met, but we are connecting because we met on Twitter, and it's bringing scientists together. We interact through that platform, which is great.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. See, you did so well. You didn't. This is great.
Thank you. I passed the test.
You passed 100%. You got it all. You got it all.
I passed.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this has been awesome. I've really enjoyed our chat and learning about what you did and just about you and what kind of tree you want to be and what your favorite is and all that. It's been really cool. So thanks for coming on. I'm so happy. If Tonantzin, if people want to reach out to you or connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, at the moment, I mean, like if they want to contact me directly, like I'm in Twitter and it's an open profile, they can direct message me. I'm at the university in Mexico, the National University, and they can contact me through my email too.
Okay.
Yeah, and if they want to know more about my research, there is the Google profile, which is updated until now, and yeah, that's one way to know. But yeah, you mentioned Instagram. I use Instagram only for like my running profile. Yeah. Like I don't post anything of my running journey in Twitter. Like Twitter is more professional. Instagram is
well, I'll make sure we only link the professional stuff in the description, so don't worry about that. So yeah. And do you want to promote the Fizz Mexico Instagram?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I have like so many great pictures that I really want to share with everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And and I hope soon we'll be out in the fields getting cool data, and I would like to share those stories. I kind of think like back and I say like, why I didn't share anything of my campaign in the middle of like Australia. That was something really cool, but we didn't have like mobile reception though. Like
right. Yeah, that makes a big difference for sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, this has been awesome. And I'll make sure that people can, reach out to you that way, all the ways that we talked about. And yeah, this was great to chat with you, Tonantzin. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. And yeah, we'll stay in touch. And
absolutely.
I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You too. Well, I'll see you around. Bye.
Okay, bye.